All right, this is for a 99 to 2006 Silverado. I wanted to redo the headliner, and I searched YouTube because the theme I'm doing this truck in is Carhartt. So I searched YouTube for some Carhartt material headliner and found that nobody had made a video on it yet. It's something I was willing to tackle myself even if I failed, and just kind of see how it turns out. So I ended up going to Joann Fabric, and I was able to get headliner material for relatively cheap, and I used some 3M headliner adhesive to spray down the foam, and then I went to a website. Let me see the website here. Silverado.com. They sell the 12-ounce duck fabric cotton weave material. That's what Carhartt's made out of. I contacted Carhartt. They weren't willing to just sell me material, so I had to source it myself. It did come folded up, so I had to iron this material out, and then once the foam was dry to the glue, I used the Carhartt material. It's going to stand up pretty well. I did have some issues because it's thick material. There's not a whole lot of stretch, so there is some spots in here that the material didn't adhere as well as I wanted it to, but this was my first headliner. It definitely would take two people. Me and my wife did it, and really we could have used a third or fourth person even, because it was so difficult. The 3M gets sticky really quick, especially today. Was like in the 80s or 90s. So it was it was tacking up outside very quickly. As far as the back goes, let me lift it here and show you. I kind of do it. I did it after watching like an upholstery guy on YouTube. He was upholstering some center consoles. So the material, I mean, I can't rate it against other material as far as how difficult it is to work with. It is quite thick, and there's not a whole lot of stretch, so it's not as forgiving, I guess, as some other materials. And with the tacking up really quick, once it's stuck, if you tried to pull it up to get a bubble out or whatever, it would pull the headliner straight from the headliner board. It would pull the padding. The corners were a little tricky. You could see here I got some wrinkles in the corner. A lot of this stuff is going to be covered up by trim, so I'm not too concerned with it. And again, this was first headliner for me, so we learned a bunch, me and my wife. And you can hear here it didn't quite sit into that curve like we wanted it to, but you know, as far as the Carhartt interior goes, I got a lot of people that want to see it when it's done. A lot of people that are excited to see it. I think it's a great idea. Carhartt does do a GM Carhartt edition, or GM does do or Silverado does a Carhartt edition pickup. But when I watched the video, there's leather inside. Pretty much all they did was put the Carhartt emblem. But I wanted something that I know is going to stand up to people touching it and spilling stuff, and people being rough jumping in and out of the truck. So the seats are going to be Carhartted. The headliner, some of the dash, the center console, I'm building a custom center console that's going to be covered in Carhartt fabric. And I dyed the carpet black. I took the door panels off and did black. They're going to have Carhartt material inlaid into them. And I'm doing everything myself. So it's not going to look perfect, but it's not going to cost me a bunch. It's definitely not a show truck by any means. But it gives me something to do in my spare time, and it's teaching me as I go. If you guys have any questions, comments, suggestions, you can post them below.